game on back there. I thought we were going to be able to watch
That's a bar, right?
Monday Night Football or something while we're doing this interview. Hey, well, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Let me start out. There's so much we could talk about, but I'd love to start with, you're wearing an Apple Watch. I saw you messing around with it. What are your early takes? Are you a fan? Are you
Yeah, I'm a fan. I think it works for people like myself that have meetings and things like this, and you don't want your phone to go off.
Yeah.
So while you're up here interviewing me, it's probably gonna go off like 10 times. I can look at it.
You can just stay on top of things.
Still keep going.
Yeah. Plus, you're wearing sunglasses, so nobody really knows if you're looking there or down or whatever. So.
Yeah, I didn't want them to see my night last night in my eye. In Vegas. You know?
So you're from Atlanta.
Yeah.
Tell us about an early memory of your kind of come up, of your grind, of your something that happened to you early that made a difference for you. I mean, you start this label, you start bringing on these artists, and just tell us a story about kind of the early days of So Def, or finding an artist, or before you were JD. Tell us something.
Well, I was JD before that.
That's true. That's true.
So Def was basically, I mean, one of the questions that people ask me when they see me is like, what do you have to do with tech? What do you have to do with the startup? And how is it relatable? And my company, So Def, I started when I was like 16, 17, something like that. And I think might be younger, but and it basically is it's the same feel. I was going to people, telling them I wanted to put out artists. I had an idea. I was from a place that wasn't really known to have hip hop music, or known really credible at the time when I came out, which was Atlanta. And you going different places and saying I want to put out this artist and that artist and that artist. And people saying no, and people not really giving me that room to do what I needed to do. I went from one artist that I created, and that artist didn't really make it, but they made enough money for me to get more equipment to make another artist. And that artist didn't really make it. They made enough money for me to get more equipment to get to Crisscross, which was didn't really come out until I was 19. So I started when I was 15, 16 years old. So, just show you the time lapse of me trying to get into the music business from 16 to 19.
I've heard you talk about some of the earliest music you made, that it was nothing that we would have heard of. It was just you kind of riffing and kind of before the stuff that came out that we all listened to and kind of grew up on, or at least my generation grew up on. But talk about you started 16 or 17. At what point did you realize this was something that I should really pursue? This wasn't just some fun side project or just something, at what point did you say hey, this actually could become my career?
I mean, when you're 15, 16, you all remember that? Well, maybe not. Well, when you're 15, 16, you don't really have you don't know what the ending goal is. It's just, you just want people to like whatever it is you're doing. And if they don't really love it, if they really would have been like, no, then I probably would have been doing something else. But like I said, I made a little bit of money. That little bit of money was like $10,000, maybe $20,000, right? At 16,
You was a man.
That sounds like $1 million, So, and I didn't have a job, so I never had a job. So to make that was enough to make me say, okay, well maybe if I do it again, I could double this little bit of money, right? Also, and that basically was like the thing that charged me to keep going.
Can you tell us a little bit about how music has changed from that time to today, where it feels like a lot of artists have gotten wise to the fact that, they absolutely have, that music is kind of this entry point to all of these other things, and whether that's getting into film and Luda, or Will Smith getting into film and TV, or whether that's then you got now Troy Carter and Scooter Braun, some of these guys who are, Ashton's not a music artist, but you got these guys who have been historically in music that are now investing in tech. So how has the music of business changed to where it is today from where it was 20 or 30 years ago?
I mean, well, the business mentality is definitely different. The knowing of now, the education of knowing how much influence we have is bigger than it's ever been, and just knowing how much influence we have is in a place that it had never been in before, and I think the tech world kind of made it where it was like, we need you guys more than you understand that we need you. Like, you tell Scooter Braun that Justin Bieber is 33% of Twitter, and you can't tell the manager of the artist that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then it's like, okay, well, you got to start paying attention to all of this. If that's Twitter, then how much is he about this and this and the third? So the business mindset is definitely a lot different than it was when I first came up. It was like, they didn't want to hear nothing I was saying at a young age. They was like, you're young, what do you know? Now now everybody's trying to listen to people that age.
If you were just starting out today and you were gonna start your career, what would you do? Where would you start?
So many places I don't really know. So many different things. I think first you just try to build your own audience, because that's the biggest thing right now. If you got your own audience, you can basically do what you want to do. You can go on tour, you can put out records that audience will buy, and if you constantly keep giving them product, and entertain that audience that you build, it'll get bigger. The word of mouth is definitely working a lot these days.
Yeah, I think everybody knows, the huge home runs like Justin Bieber coming out of YouTube, or a couple of others. But do you see YouTube is the best platform to do that? Do you see things coming up on Instagram that are interesting, or Snapchat, or?
I think everything works. I think it's all depends on how you use it. You know what I mean? And you got to create your own analytics basically to work with your fan base. Like me, I learned that posting on Instagram at like after 6 o'clock in the afternoon is not really effective for me. So I have to wait till 6 a.m. in the morning. And I really don't go to sleep, so it's like, but I'm posting at 6 a.m. And my Instagram is going crazy, and people, I get the most likes at that particular point in time. So you just gotta build your own analytics.
You gotta get on Latergram. Have you used that yet?
What's that?
That's where you can set it and forget it.
Oh.
And it just comes
No,
up. You're there. You want to do it live.
I won't go to sleep anyway.
You're there. I think it's a great point, because I just saw this woman, Michelle Phan, who had this huge YouTube following. She does makeup, and I get a lot of tips from her on the makeup that I wear. But they just raised her company just raised like $100 million, and it's like this $10 a month subscription makeup company. And it was like, she was this YouTube person. But she's getting billions of views, and people love her, and and everyone signs up for her stuff, and and now it's a tech company. It was like her fun side project, and now it's this huge, VC backed tech thing.
I was saying this earlier today. You'd be surprised how many things are not there for people. Like, just listening to that, I'm not really familiar with it, but I'm sure it's not really I used to go to the mall and always wonder when women would stop at they always put
the kiosk.
They put the cologne beside the women in a makeup thing, right? I don't know why they do that, but anyway, so when you buy cologne, you can see a woman sitting there trying to get made up by one of these people. So it's not that business is not really something that's out there really that people could grab onto. So I can see how women would really be like sitting at home listening to this lady and getting tips all the time.
You just had a birthday a few weeks ago. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
What are you doing now? Like what do you spend? What does your day look like? What do you spend most of your time doing? Where do you spend most of your time? Physically.
Most of my time is the same as always been. You know what I mean? Just creatively, just trying to figure out what's gonna move me for the next 10 years. So basically, I just signed up to do these 2 TV shows, one on Lifetime and one that's on BET, and they basically are. It's funny because people at CAA is like, Jermaine, you're not really taking this like 100% seriously. You have 2 TV shows at the same time, and I know it might feel like just gonna move like the way your regular life moves, but it's not. It's gonna it's gonna slow you down a little bit, and it's gonna have you occupied for a lot, right? So I guess I'm getting ready to prepare for that. And and my studio time and all that. But it's interesting because the Lifetime show is about kids that are 9 to 15, 6 kids that move to Atlanta, and they come to Jermaine Dupri boot camp. So they basically come to the studio, and I'm gonna brush them up on whatever they already feel like they already had. And the tech part of it is that they're already on YouTube, so they got fans already. It's like one of the kids already did like 50 shows this year, and one of the kids has a bodyguard, and he don't even have a record out. And I'm like,
he has a bodyguard?
Yeah, he has a security guard, and I'm like, what the hell? Why? Right? It's crazy, but he feels like he's a star already.
It's
So
a natural progression, right? Like, right hit records, hire a bodyguard the next day.
Yeah, that goes with no video on TV.
That's right.
You should definitely have a security guard. So yeah, I mean, it's just like it's like the dynamic between the mothers and the what they call managers. Yeah, the managers or whatever, monitors. And these kids that already feel like they stars coming into the real world of actually being in the music industry.
I mean, are you like gonna be like the Simon Cowell of Lifetime? Like, do you have that in you to like?
Well, it's not a contest, so it's not.
You're just kind of coaching them.
Yeah, I'm just really just like telling them what I feel like they need to do and what they should increase on and what they should work on, and if they should fire their moms.
Yeah.
Just stuff like no, it's not really a contest. They've already been chosen, so. It's gonna be just interesting, just like I said, it's a boot camp just to get them right.
Has it started or no?
Well, yeah, actually started Thursday.
Okay. Have you told them to fire their moms? Is that advice that's come up?
Huh?
Have you told anyone to fire their moms?
In real life?
Well.
Yeah, in my life, yes.
I'm sure in real life, but I mean on the show. Have you said that yet?
No, we haven't done it.
Okay, you haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't want to meet them. I want you guys to see the real reaction of the real action between us. So I don't even know the kids yet. I'm gonna meet them on Thursday.
Okay, so you're doing that show on Lifetime, and then you're doing this show on BET called Moguls.
Yeah.
Where like basically, if I have this right, they follow you around and just kind of interact and kind of see what you do behind the scenes and your life. And is that right?
Yeah, I mean, but it also gives you a more in-depth look at what people that these so-called moguls of hip-hop are, what their lives operate and how, what's going on. So it's me, Snoop, Baby from Cash Money, and Daniel Dash.
It's not a bad group.
Yeah. You want to be part?
Yeah, if they need another vocal, like I'm happy to jump in. That would be great. So what? Can I just ask you? How do these things come together? How does the TV thing come together? Is this you out pitching it? Is this people coming to you? I mean,
well, it's interesting because I always avoided being a part of or having an agent. I never, in Atlanta, that's not the world, like, right? So, I went to LA and I had a meeting with CAA, and while I was in there, they was like, we got a show for you. I was like, oh yeah, okay. And I've been avoiding these reality shows for a long time because I think that, reality TV to me is just sucks after a while, right? But then this fit because the last superstar hip hop kid was Bow Wow. So it came from me, so it only made sense for me to do this. So while I was in there talking about saying yes that I would do this show, somebody else that was inside that building called and said, I heard Jermaine Dupri was in there. And the guy was like, yeah. And he's like, well, we got another show for him upstairs. And I was like, what? And I'm thinking like, how I'm gonna do TV shows. So with it being CAA, they figured it out and they made it both happen.
What are you most proud of in your career? Or in your life? What are the things that you value the most?
A lot of things. I mean, a lot of things I did that I've done that I said to myself I wanted to do. Like I wanted to make music that would last, right? And recently, I guess this week or last week, might be this week, Mariah Carey is celebrating the 20th anniversary of her album Music Box, right? And on this album, I wasn't really, I don't think people even knew that I produced Always Be My Baby. Well, I know people didn't know I produced it because I didn't talk on the record and I didn't do the normal stuff that I do once people got to know who I was. But this week it was like a thing that set into me that said, you did make music that you're making music now that people are talking about like 20 years after we made it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a lot of things that I've accomplished that I used to say to myself, I wish I could do this. I wish I could do this like somebody else. And now it's actually happening, or I'm getting a chance to see it today. But I still feel like it's so much more that I have to do. And I'm on that quest now.
Yeah, so at what point do you become satisfied? Is there a point? I mean, you've been very successful, you've over in many different areas, and now you're spending a couple of days a month here, and I'm hearing a lot of people talk about you getting kind of this whole another context, in terms of music. And at what point do you say, hey, I've done it, or do you not? Do you? How do you keep fighting? Where do you keep that drive from?
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I don't know if I'll ever say it. I think that I feel like it's so much more that I can do, and so much many ways I can use my brain that I don't feel like I had yet. So I'm just trying to see if I can use all of my brain.
Sounds like a reality show right there.
I'll be like the male version of Lucy. Ain't that
Tell us about you're doing so many things, and like another thing you're doing is you help produce these games, these mobile games.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. What is that all about?
Yeah, so a company came to me and they was talking to me. It's called Next Level. They came to me and they was like, Jermaine, we think you should take your music and turn them into apps, video game apps. And I'm like, at first, I was like, no. And the reason for that is because I feel like a lot of times in tech guys don't really care about the brand itself. They just care about getting the idea out there a lot of times. And I was really trying to safeguard my brand and my music, and I just didn't feel like, it sounded corny as hell to me to be talking about we're gonna turn money anything into a video game. And I'm like, no, like the record is considered a classic. You don't do that to a classic record. But then I had to break myself down a little bit more and say, Jermaine, okay, listen, just think a little bit different here. The world is moving in a different space. Let's just see and take a look at it and see what happens. And oddly enough, all they did was take everything that I had already done and put it into a video game. And I just couldn't see it without, it's crazy because I couldn't see it when they was talking to me about it over the phone. And I find that to be a very, very big thing that happens in this world, period, in tech, and having other people getting knowledge and education about tech because they can't see it when you tell it to them. You know what I mean? I think you was asking me this. I think that's why a lot of African Americans are not in tech because they're into more things that they can see as opposed to things they can't see. So I was one of those guys that was a little shell-shocked about getting into the app business, but then once I saw it, then my mind started going crazy.
Well, let's talk about that. So basically all the major tech companies in Silicon Valley have released their reports that they're basically doing a horrible job with diversity. And you've seen this big wave, of people and energy and organizations kind of, trying to help solve the problem or, balance the playing field. What do you think? What can I, as an entrepreneur with a 5-person, 10-person, 20-person company, what can I do to get more engaged on this issue and help be part of the solution?
Like I said, once again, I think, you have to beat it in a person's head. Unfortunately, because like a lot of this stuff is just ideas that you gotta believe in the idea, and you have to believe in that you have to believe in the fact that it's happened for other people as well. You know what I mean? A lot of times people can't do that. Like in the music industry, it's so slim. I guess it's probably the same for the tech world, but it's so slim that but at the same time they can still see it when it really happens. A lot of times when stuff happens in tech, like you said, this girl, that's $1 billion. I haven't even $1 billion company. I haven't even heard nothing about it, right? So if you would have came to me and told me backstage, Jermaine, you should invest in this company, I'm gonna be like, no.
Right.
But that's stupid because it's happening. It's just not something that I can see.
In your world.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, you just have to be able to see it. I think that's what the urban community is more abreast of and used to, just seeing things. Like I think earlier today, Jerome was talking about people he would invest in his homeboy's record company before he would invest into startup grind. And because he could see it, he could see his homeboy out there doing what he was doing. That's not cool, but that's just how it is. So I think more or less of how you can try to figure out how to show people more. I think tech should show more anyway. I mean, I think that a lot of it is very still much like secret, secret society situations.
It seems like too, we have this girl on our team who went to the University of Alabama, and she came up the valley and experienced a lot of, just kind of a lot of doors slammed in her face and things, and she's this incredible African American engineer, woman, and she basically she had this great quote, which is, if you part of the problem is everyone's just looking in the wrong places. You have these, I'm going to look at people that went to school with me, or I'm going to look at people that worked at Google with me, and versus going to the HBCUs and going to the East Coast and hiring in different places and looking for, engineers in different places and just looking outside of where you as a white dude or, or somebody else, like where you would just normally look.
Yeah.
And it's not that you're biased or that you're doing it, it's this unconscious bias, right? Where like you're looking in all the wrong places. You're looking for apples in an orange field, and it's just not going to happen. So you got to go out. You got to look harder. You got to look in different places.
I mean, the same thing. It's vice versa. Like for anybody that don't know, Scooter Braun came from me basically. Scooter was my intern at Social Deaf. And
Scooter is Justin Bieber's
manager.
Yeah.
A lot of people's manager now. And I went and found him at Emory. He wasn't in the clubs that I was at. He wasn't at the parties that I was at. And I was searching for this person because I knew it had to be a person out there that was like him. And it wasn't about him being white. It was about him introducing me to a bigger audience, and that I was trying to see and was even listening to my music. You know what I mean? So and I didn't get a chance to finish high school, and I didn't go to college, so I didn't really have a relationship with the college world. So I also wanted to use school to get me into what's going on at Emory. And once I started going over there, like you said, they was having concerts, they was having NERD perform, they was having stuff going at this campus that I never even knew was happening. And I was like 5 miles away from this place, right? And it was so crazy, because it's like, it is, you just gotta change the way you move, find somebody else that can put you in different places. So that's really true what you're saying.
What is your creative process like? What do you do? Do you have strategies that you follow, or are there specific things that you do to get an MO to create, to write?
For writing?
Yeah, music or being creative.
Yeah, it's just really just my overall thing is to always continue to do what I've always done from day one. Understand that I came into this game with people not believing my ideas, so it's hard for you to discourage me, because I started off with people trying to like tell me no. You know what I mean? So if you start off telling somebody no and then they win, then it's hard for you to ever. You can tell me no all you want, I'm not gonna.
You're not gonna believe it.
You know, I'm not. I mean, I believe that you don't understand what I'm talking about, and I believe that you probably don't see my vision.
I believe that you're misguided, but
yeah. So I mean, it's just like that's all I do. I just go back to that. So if I have like a hard day and it feels like everybody's pushing on me, I just have to take a breath and be like, remember, this happened a long time ago. So
there's one thing. There's one thing that I heard you say a few years ago, which in an interview you did, which I've never forgotten, and it's made a big impact. And the question was what do you do, like if you're on the bottom or things aren't going well? How do you get on top? And like, what do you do? And your response to that was you make hit records, and which in the tech world, you know, to me is you build a great product.
Yeah.
You know, you build a great team. And but you know, I love this idea that you know, look, it doesn't matter where you're at, right? It doesn't matter at what stage you're at. That this could be the chance, this could be the time where you turn things around, or where you finally get that hit record.
Yeah.
You know, but if you take yourself out, if you stop trying, if you give up after the last failure, like, you'll never have that chance. But I mean, how is that still true? Is that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's like, but it's also, you know, it's a listening thing too. Like, when people tell me no, they always said something that was valuable in that no, right? So it was like a guy, I don't know if you know, L.A. Reid. He's the chairman, president of Epic Records right now. Like, he owned LaFace Records at the time, and I was doing this remix for him. And one day I was doing a remix, and he made me do the remix 5 times. Like, I kept sending it to him. He loved the version, but it was something else. He said the mix. It just wasn't right. And I had this engineer that I was paying a lot of money to do this mix, and I thought this engineer was like the best guy in the world. And on the 5th mix, it was this little intern in the studio that was like, Jermaine, you should let me do it. And it was a Chinese guy named Phil Tan. And I was like, shit, I don't have no other, I mean, you know, I'm on the 5th mix. What's gonna happen if I have to go to 6? You try it, right? And it was like, all of those no's got me to find this guy who became like one of the most popular engineers in the world. And he became my engineer for the last, 10, 20 years. And the one time we did that mix, he did one mix, was number 6. And it was by an intern. And
he was just in the room. He was just.
Well, he was working. He was just an intern.
Yeah.
His mix is the mix that came out.
Wow.
Right? And so it's crazy. It's like, so in the times that you get turned down and stuff like that, you find little gems and you gotta pay attention to them. And you gotta be willing to try stuff, I guess. Cause I mean, I could have said no to Phil and tried to keep working with this guy, but I was on my 5th mix and he had fucked it up, so it was like, what do I have to lose? Come on. So I mean, it was crazy because that one time turned into one of the greatest mixing creation relationships ever.
It sounds like one of those stories that like you see in a movie, but actually could never happen. You know, like the intern, oh, let me have my shot, JD, and then the intern messed with us. That was awful. Like, go back to just do whatever you did. You know, go away.
Yeah,
but no.
His mix, as soon as I sent it, that was it. It was like, yes, we love it. What did you do?
We're in Las Vegas. You spent a good amount of time here. What's happening? What is exciting to you in Las Vegas right now? What's changed over the last few years? And what what's your take on things?
I think when I started coming to Vegas heavily, almost about, I would say like 6 years ago. And 6 years ago, it wasn't live entertainment wasn't really here the way it is now. Mariah Carey wasn't here, Boyz II Men wasn't here. It was only Celine Dion, I think, and
George Wallace.
You know, somebody like that, yeah. But it felt really, really like older.
Yeah.
It felt like a lot of artists only came to Vegas when they was older and they didn't want to deal with the youngins anymore. But they started
Gladys Knight. It was Celine and Gladys.
You was here, you know. So I was here and I saw this thing that said it's like celebrity DJs, and we should have a celebrity DJ. And I was like, who's a celebrity DJ? And it was like Tommy Lee from Motley Crue. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, Tommy Lee is a DJ? When? So I went to see what was going on. The place was packed. They was going crazy over Tommy Lee from Motley Crue, and he was DJing. And I'm like, oh man, something's not right. So then I got this wise idea that I should be a DJ, since I am a DJ prior to me making records. So I was already a DJ and I just was scared to get in front of crowds. So I was like, I'm gonna ask these guys, can I DJ? And let me get a chance to do the same thing. So I asked the Planet Hollywood if I could DJ. They said yes, we would love to have you. We can't believe that you want to come do this. And I got up there and I DJ'd, and next thing I know, I had a residency, and I was here in Vegas every week. Every month or whatever. And then that residency lasted for 2 years, and then I moved from there to the Wynn, and I've been at the Wynn for the last 3 years with a residency. So, and I saw the city go from George Wallace to Jermaine Dupri and continue to keep getting younger and younger and younger. I remember because I talked to Mariah about this before, and she was like, I'm not going to no Vegas. Like, what? And now she's here.
Where good artists go to die.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah.
Then, now she's here. Now J-Lo's here. The Trey Songz is here. The Weeknd's here. Everybody's in Vegas now. I mean, it's probably it's like when I used to read about the Rat Pack. That's what it feels like is happening right now. Like, there's so much energy happening in this city.
So my last question for you is, when they make the Compton version of Atlanta, who plays you in the movie?
I don't know if they're gonna do that though.
Well, there's some interesting stories there, right?
I mean, it's a lot of interesting stories. I just tell my father's in the crowd. I can't even see, but I was telling him the same thing about this. Like, the difference with Atlanta is there's so much success, and it's that's partially why I'm doing the Mogul show, is because a lot of the hard times and the rough breaks that happened to me and anybody in Atlanta, nobody got a chance to see. I know somebody asked me today about what would I tell people that had a startup and they was in a different city, like I think he said Miami, he said some city, and it was like how to not quit because you was in a city that's not really vibrant right there, right? And Atlanta wasn't popping like that when I first got started. It wasn't popping like it is now. And you just have to, you gotta keep pushing, but you also gotta make sure that some kind of way, this is one of the things that we didn't do. I didn't make sure that y'all knew about all of the heartaches and the hard times that go into it to create a story like Compton. The genius in those guys is that they really, really played out all the bad stuff that happened in their life and as well as the good. We only showed you
It made for a compelling story.
Yeah. So, I mean, hopefully this Mogul situation you'll see the behind the scenes and see everything that's happening in there, and it might, transform into a movie later on down the line. But right now, it just feels like to me it's too much success.
Jermaine Dupri,
Yeah.
everyone, thanks for being here.
I want to see you scoot out of it.
That Derek thing.
Yeah, what is that thing called anyways? I see you on this, like on Instagram all the time.
Iowa.
A what?
Iowa. By the way, Derek was the first person who made a Global 14 t-shirt.
Oh, really?
This was he made this.
You did?
Yeah, he made it for me, and I just took it.
Oh, that's awesome. Let's hear it one more time. Let's hear it.